Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And obviously, if you have any questions, please do feel free to add them into the chat. The Professional Masters of Education Primary is a master's, but it is initial teacher education. So it is for those applicants who are wishing to become a teacher rather than many of the other postgraduate programs that are being discussed this afternoon are for practicing teachers. Can I just double check that everybody can see and hear that presentation? Great. Thanks, Elizabeth. And I'm just going to give you the course code there, DC 970, because as Elizabeth also said, it makes it very easy to find all the details on the DC website if you know the code, DC 970. So the most important thing to mention about the PME primary is that the closing date for applications is 2 weeks from today. So 5 p.m. on the 3rd of April is the closing date for applications for entry in September 2023. So I'm going to just spend a couple of minutes going through the programme itself for anybody who might be interested in applying for this programme. We have three distinct elements of the programme. There are taught modules, placement modules in schools, and then you have two-week Tréimhsí Fáil Measc. Among the taught modules, I'm not going to share these with you now because it's easier for you to look for them yourselves. If you look up the DC 970 web pages on the DCU website, you'll see the full list of modules for PMEP1 and PMEP2. And what I would like to point out to you is that we take a very graduated model where in PMEP1 you have a large number of taught modules and a small amount of placement, and then in PMEP2 you have a smaller amount of taught modules and far more placement, where you are applying the knowledge that you have acquired during those taught modules in PMEP1 in classrooms and schools in PMEP2. Along with the taught modules, we have a focus on reflection and research. So you have opportunities to learn how to reflect, and what we're talking about here is very professional reflection, analysis of your practice in order to fine tune and maximize learning for the children in your class. And then we have a capstone of that, which is our research project, where you conduct a self-study research project on your personal practice in order to find how you may improve it from an evidence-based approach. In terms of placement, in PMEP1, there is no placement until March of semester 2. So you have quite a lot of input before you are out in schools. And then you have 2 placements in PMEP1 and 3 in PMEP2. And as you can see, they get a little bit longer as you go through the programme. And semester 2 of PMEP2 is all placement. So I just thought I'd like to highlight some of the key themes of the PMEP with you. Because I would hope that you'll see them reflected from day one if you take up a place in the programme. We have a very strong focus on inclusive education, on developing students who will support the children in classrooms to be global citizens. We aim to support you in developing strong professional relationships with other teachers, with parents, etc. We work very hard to support you in developing a strong sense of professional identity and agency so that you will be change makers and decision makers for your schools and classrooms. Apologies for the typo there, we try to support our students in developing very creative and also reflective practice. Obviously, we make sure that you are well prepared to support all children in their literacy and numeracy, but not only in their literacy and numeracy, also many other aspects of their learning as well. And then we have a focus on digital skills. So logistically, a few things that it's very important to be aware of at the beginning. This is a 2-year full-time programme, and in saying that it's full-time, if you ask any current students on the programme, they would say that it is more full-time than most full-time university programs. You will be on campus 5 days a week during the lecture weeks, and for very many of those days you will be in from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. On top of that, you will have assignments. So it really is, if you're going to take up a place in this program, which I hope many of you will need to organise for the next 2 years that you don't have, that you have support and that you don't make any major commitments. If you have, for example, if you're participating in a lot of sport or you have a part-time job, you really need to have a think about how you'll accommodate both throughout your 2 years on the programme, because it is quite intense. Also, very important to note, before the programme starts, we have 2 weeks in the Gaeltacht, and they start at the end of August, and they are mandatory, and each day is mandatory, so there is no coming home for the weekend or for a wedding or for a match during the Gaeltacht placements. And then PMP 1, as you can see there, is lectures in semester 1, some lectures in semester 2, and then placement. And PMP 2, we have lectures semester 2, placement, and then semester 2 of PMP 2 is all placement. And do take a look at the PMP webpage for further details. Okay, some details on the application process. As I said, 2 weeks from today is the closing date for submissions. You must have a level 8 degree or higher qualification. You must have these second level qualifications from your Leaving Certificate or equivalent. There is a long list of alternatives. They are listed on the Department of Education website, and they're listed on our website. Please don't email us to ask for them. They are there on the website, and the list is quite extensive in terms of what is acceptable in place of the Leaving Cert minimum requirements. And then finally, and most importantly at the moment, you must have your Chastas your Pachna Gaeilge Man Level Hain B1. And when I say most importantly, in order to apply in 2 weeks' time, you would have needed to complete the Chastas Europe Pachna Gaeilge in January. So if you haven't done so but would like to apply for the PMP, you please do start considering planning for next year. There is an examination in May, and I would advise you to apply for it and have it done. And then you'll be in a great position to apply for the PMP for 2024. I don't need to go into too much detail on the Chastas Europe Pachna Gaeilge. You need to achieve 65% or higher, and it is all the details are on the TEG website, www.teg.ie. Okay, apologies for that. I've already confirmed that. When you are applying, you must upload all of the following: the Leaving Cert to show those minimum requirements have been met or equivalent, a transcript of your university results to show that you have that level 8 at least 180 ECTS. DCU students do not have to upload that academic transcript. We need your TEG level B1 certificate, photograph, and the student declaration page, which will be generated through your PAC application. Very importantly, when you are applying, once your application has been processed and you have been deemed eligible, you are put forward for interview. Now, when we are interviewing students, we ask you to complete a supplementary form as part of your application, and we read this. The interviewers read this very, very thoroughly before your interview, and it forms the basis of your interview. It is also the first impression that you will make. So do take time, draft it carefully, think carefully about what you want to say, how you want to represent yourself, and don't leave sections blank on the application form. There will be, okay, so this is just logistics about PAC. I'll share this presentation with Paul, and he can send it out to you. There's no need to go through those details just now, other than to say the interviews will be held in the last week of May. What I do want to mention to you more importantly is that when preparing for the interview for that last week of May, we have a rubric available on the website. I also have it on the next slide. There's a maximum mark on the interview of 100, and there are additional marks for the TEG if you score very high on your TEG B1 or if you complete a higher TEG B2, C1 or C2. So in the interview, these are the things that we are looking out for. We want to see if you can demonstrate your suitability to teach, your motivation, interpersonal skills, communication, talents and aptitudes, evidence, leadership and relevant experience. And very much we want to see motivation because, as I said, it's a very intense programme. We want to make sure that the people who are selected to participate in the programme are going to work hard and make sure that they succeed, as our students do. We have excellent students on the programme every year. So we do ask you to show us your motivation and your commitment to teaching and your interest. Why do you want to be a teacher? And maybe a little bit more than I always did, but an actual detailed response as to why you feel that this is the profession for you. And that is everything that I have to share with you today. So I'm going to stop sharing now and take any questions that anybody might have. And as I said in the presentation, that the most important details. Okay, Rachel, great question. So as I was just saying, the most important details about the programme and the application process are on that link that I've just shared with you. So Rachel has asked, what if you haven't received your transcript of your level 8 yet? You have until the 15th of July. So we're very aware that's the case for a lot of our applicants, that they will have everything except that level 8 by the application closing date, which this year is the beginning of April. So we'd accept everything by the beginning. We'd expect everything by the beginning of April, but you have until the 15th of July to upload your level 8 transcript. And what would happen if you're successful in the interview, you'll get a conditional offer in the meantime, and then a firm offer when you have uploaded your level 8 in July. Niamh, that's another great question. So in terms of preparing for the TEG, the Maynooth themselves, who run the TEG, have preparatory Irish courses, and they also have, because they don't run them, every couple of months, for example. I think they're really annual. So in case you might have missed them, they have a very, very long and detailed list of Irish courses that are available all over the country, in person and online. So I'd hope that you'd find plenty of options there. Jenny, great question. So how many places are available? So most years we take in about 70 students, but this year, because of the crisis in finding substitute cover in schools, the Department of Education have asked us to take on more. So we're going to hopefully take in 120 students this September. So I would suspect a higher percentage of those interviewed will get a place this year. Typically, it's about 60% on average, that 60% of applicants get a place in the PMEP, but we'll be expecting this year that it will be even higher than that. So I would really encourage everybody to apply. And also, in our experience, we would have applicants who might not be successful one year, but will come back the next year with an extra year's maturity, an extra year's experience, more examples to share with us of how they demonstrate their motivation, their interest in teaching, etc. So it's always good to go through the process once. I hope that you'll be successful, but if not, you will have a great footing, more information at your disposal for the next time around. Is the employment rate for graduates in this course high? It's about 100%. There's really, at the moment, the schools are crying out for teachers, and we have, one of the biggest challenges that we have is that our students are under pressure from principals to take up subbing during their 2 years on the programme. And as I've pointed out, I hope quite clearly, that's very difficult. In the month of June, definitely, and in the month of May in PMEP2, subbing is an option, but during the school year, you will be putting yourself under incredible pressure if you give in to that pressure from principals. But at the moment, very, very many schools cannot fill posts around the country, and they will be delighted to see our lovely high calibre postgraduate student teachers sending in applications for jobs in their schools. So the course fees, Alva, I think the best thing to do is to look up the fees on the DCU website, because they're not the same for everybody, depending on EU, non-EU, and the SUSI situation. So take a look on the DCU webpage, and there are links on the PMEP page to the fees. Do we break during holidays? So there's two weeks break at Christmas, and other than that, the calendar runs through. There is at the moment on the DCU PMEP webpage, we have the calendar for semester 1, so you can take a look at it there. You would be committed to the programme from the 25th of August until the 18th of December. And then you'll have a 2-week break, might actually be the 20th of December this year, 2-week break until the beginning of January, and then you'll hit the ground again, hopefully running, and you'll be working on the programme until the first week in May. And we don't break between Christmas and the first week in May. In PMEP2, you will have school breaks because you'll be on placement, so you'll have break during Easter, but in PMEP1 you won't.